I don't know if the general population would understand how expensive it is to actually travel the world and compete and live your dream effectively when you are outside of that top 20, as you touched on. Like for people to understand that, do you have a number of what it would cost to travel and play in the majority of tournaments, or, what is the difference?
Yeah,
because
I mean,
clearly you rely on sponsorship, commercial opportunities, and then funding from your
but also
body potentially.
Yeah, but prize money is your biggest one.
Yeah.
You have to be successful to be able to sustain yourself. And, I think back to probably the last, even if I go back to when I was in, year 12, I was 18 just before I'd stopped playing. I was home in my own bed 27 nights that year. That's not a lot,
No.
And that's an expense for mum and dad. Both of my sisters sacrificed their own sporting hobbies, I suppose, because we just couldn't afford it. We just could not afford it. And I think then fast forwarding to when I was a pro, it's, I'm employing my own team. It's my trainer, my physio, my coach. If my family comes with me, that's flights, accommodation, food for everyone. So it's I'm creating my own business. I'm creating my own team. And there are a lot of times where it was just my coach and I. Having my family with me was not always something that I could afford. It was a luxury, and being able to share those experiences with them was a luxury. And yeah, it's so expensive. Like I couldn't put a figure on it just off the top of my head, because I really do think you have to be in the point where you're top 50 to kind of be making anything. I mean, top 60 to break even, really, because then it's, you get taxed all over the world. It's pretty much what you earn.
Say you win a tournament somewhere in the world, on the way out you potentially get taxed, then on the way into Australia you get taxed. These are the kind of things that a lot of people wouldn't understand.
Yeah, and I think, honestly, that's why you see a lot of players residing in places that are tax havens. But for me, that was not something that I ever wanted to sacrifice. I wanted to come back to Australia. I'm an Aussie. I love living here. There was nowhere else in the world that I'd rather live. But with that, you cop the fact that you kind of get taxed twice. And I think for me, that was never, money was never the reason why I played tennis. I had financial goals. Of course, every person has financial goals, no matter what career they're in. But for me, it was the experience and the memories that I wanted to share with my loved ones the most. And I think I probably, the last 2 years of my career, could afford to bring my family with me. And that's something that I really cherish, because they sacrificed so much early on and they never got to see it. I even think to my very last match at the Australian Open final, it was the first time in my career that Mum, Dad, Sarah, Ali and Gary, my husband, saw me play live together.
Wow.
The very first time. And I was like, that was special. That was a really special moment for us as a family unit to share that memory. The win aside, it was that moment to be able to share that with them was really special.